That's off, that's off, that's off, that's on, that's on. Looks live. Okay. Hello, Shadowcat back. We are back. We are doing Pokemon. We are not doing conditions today. That's done. After like 5 episodes of that, I think we've had quite enough of it. I mean, most of it was pretty easy. Some of the things we got hung up on, but otherwise, I mean, I'm glad to leave it behind. Time to do something else new. Time to do something else fun. It's gonna be good. It's going to be good. So, before we get into all of that, I'm going to say hello to everyone in the chat. I see that Blizz is here. Hello, Blizz. Good to see you here. I see that Alden is also here. Hello, Alden. Good to see you too. Yes, it is daylight savings time. If you forgot to set your clock, well, it's fall, so technically you have an extra hour that you didn't know about. Better than the spring, because then you'd just be late. So, yes, if you forgot to set your clocks, then, yeah, just do that now. Means that, you get like an extra hour. I didn't have to do that, though. Every clock I have sets itself, but that's because, like, all of my clocks are high-tech and digital and everything else. And Alden says, doesn't apply to me. That's because you live somewhere sensible. I can understand the reason why, the reason why they used to do daylight savings time, okay? And it made sense in context, okay? The point was that they thought that they were going to get more daylight hours to work with by simply shifting the clocks to basically stay in line with the sun. Because, obviously, if you're in the northern hemisphere... Actually, it doesn't really matter. Summer is summer, winter is winter. In the winter, you have less light. In the summer, you have more light. And so by adjusting the clocks, it'll let people get more use out of the daylight hours. However, I mean, one thing that's always been important to keep in mind is, like, daylight savings time only really ever applied to the people who, like, lived and worked in the cities. Because farmers didn't care. The animals don't have clocks. You try to teach a horse how to read a clock. You can't. They've tried. So, farmers didn't care. Plants didn't care. Animals didn't care. Pretty much nobody cared except for the people who were living in the cities and working on a time clock. Other than that, it honestly didn't matter. I'm actually fully on board just getting rid of it because it was... I understand the reason for it at the time. The reason was kind of sketchy at the time, and now it just... It really doesn't exist. There's no reason for it now. But we still have it. It's a relic of the past. We have to deal with it until we can get rid of it. So, anyway, we're going to go ahead. We're going to get to work today. Before I do that, don't forget... If you're not subscribed to this channel yet, you should do that. There's a big subscribe button down there. Just click it. It's not hard. You had to click like so many things to get here before. One more click won't hurt you. So subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, that way you get notified every time these videos come out. If you know somebody else who's also into either tabletop gaming, you know, Pathfinder, Starfinder, stuff like that, or Pokemon, then share this video with them. Otherwise, though, you like me, you like what I'm doing here, leave a like on the video, leave a comment down below. But if you're going to leave a comment down below, might I convince you to go one step further? Just one. There's a link down there for the Discord. Join the Discord. You do that, you can hang out with everybody there. There's a lot of people there. They're all friendly. And if you want to play with us, you have to go to the Discord, go to the Behind the Screens channel. You need to tell me what games you want to play, because we have several. I mean, we can even put together a vanilla Pathfinder or Starfinder game if you like. We can always do that. But I kind of figure, you know, everyone wants to play the new modules. I hope everyone wants to play the new modules. Oh god, what if they don't? My life is a lie. It's okay. Anyway, come tell me what games you want to play, what your availability is. As soon as I can get enough people together for one game, we will start. And we have one game going right now. It's the B Team, set in the Star Trek universe using the very first module that we did. So, if you want to fly among the stars, if you want to meet Klingons and Vulcans and Romulans and all kinds of other stuff, and shoot photon torpedoes, and yeah, join us for that one. Yes, you can join mid-game. I promise you can join mid-game. I'm really good at integrating people. And no, you do not need to know anything about Star Trek to join us. Everything that you need to know, I promise you will learn along the way. And I have proof, because I have people who didn't know that much about Star Trek. And guess what? They learned. So, come and do that with us, and I guess we'll just get into this, won't we? So, if we're going to do this, first thing we're going to need to have our browser. We'll need to have our spreadsheet. And we're probably going to need to have another spreadsheet. Also, I see that JP is in the chat now, too. Hello, JP. Good to see you. JP says, fly among the stars, asteroids, anomalies, Borg, etc., etc. It's not all bad. I mean, the Borg didn't even try to assimilate you this time. So, let's take a look at things. So, obviously, the first thing that we're doing today is we got to look at Pokeballs and catching things. Well, catching Pokemon. Are Pokemon things? They're not quite people. They're more like animals. I'm going to say catching things. That's what we're looking at today. We'll do a little bit of a brief read into what are Pokeballs and what do they do. And then we're going to start working on mechanics. So first thing to do is going to be to get another sheet here. Insert this one after. This is going to be catching. And we'll work on this. Alright, so, Pokeball. Let's read. Also, in Japanese, it's just Monster Ball. Because, like, it's weird. Everything in Japanese is just boring. I hate to say it, okay? I hate to say it because I love the Japanese. I love Japanese culture. I love the things that the Japanese do, but so many of their things, once you translate them into, like, what they actually call them, so boring. I mean, Monster Ball. Okay, fine, whatever. Monster Ball could be literally anything. Maybe you've got Dracula in a ball. Can you imagine that? You throw the ball, and out pops Dracula. Where am I? Where have you taken me? I was in Transylvania. Somebody threw a ball at me. Now I'm here. Why am I out here? What are we doing? Is that the sun? Ah! See? Pokeball. Just call it a Pokeball. It's so much better. Anyway, Pokeball. Type of item that is critical to a trainer's quest. Used for catching and storing Pokemon. Both the general term used to describe various kinds as well as a specific term for the most basic among these variations. Pokeballs are ubiquitous in the modern Pokemon world. Let's see. Alden says, I think Pokeballs should be straightforward once we get the catching formula down. I agree. This should be really, really simple. All we have to do is really figure out how we're going to do the catching. And I think that pretty much all the different variations of Pokeballs are going to be pre-written. And yes, I see PC's in there. Hello, PC. Good to see you too. Okay, up to 6 Pokemon can be carried with a trainer in Pokeballs, while more Pokeballs can be held in the bag for later use. These 6 Pokemon, and it is very specific about that, 6 Pokemon in the Pokeballs can be attached to the user's belt for carrying them around. Some Pokemon do not like to be carried around in Pokeballs, such as Ash's Pikachu, and I do think that's maybe something that we should look into. Now, I realize that Ash's Pikachu is very unique. I also realize that Ash's Pikachu is not completely unique in that there are many other Pokemon that do not want to go in a ball, but the number is still vanishingly small, so perhaps we should have some kind of dice roll for that. Like maybe just a 1% chance that if you get a Pokemon, it does not want to go in a ball. Now, at that point, I'm not exactly sure what you do with it, because I don't read the manga and I didn't watch the cartoon. So I don't know what Pikachu actually does when Pikachu's not in use. Like, I know that when they're traveling, Pikachu's either walking along with them or riding on like Ash's shoulder or his hat or whatever. But I mean like in a fight. Like if they're in a gym or something. What is Pikachu doing if Pikachu is not the active Pokemon on the field? I don't know. It's probably not important, but I feel like it's something that needs to be addressed regardless. Anyway, stylized balls are used in many places to symbolize Pokemon in general. Logos of the Battle Frontiers, Pokemon Contest, Pokathlon? I'm not even sure. And the Pokemon Musical all feature Pokeballs around their design, while several Pokeballs can be seen in every Pokemon Center. The headgear of the protagonists of Kanto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, and Unova base games feature the Pokeball designs, as do the bags of the protagonists in the Johto games. Ethan's headgear is similar to the top half of an Ultra Ball, and Lucas's bag prominently features a Pokeball. Fair enough. Alden says, Pikachu just... Oh, is the chat not updating? I don't think the chat is actually updating. No, the chat is not updating. Okay. I hate this chat system. I gotta figure something out. Maybe it's because everyone else uses Streamlabs and I'm using OBS. Maybe Streamlabs is better. I don't know. I'll have to look into that because this is all kinds of broken. Anyway. Alden says, Pikachu just sits on Ash's shoulder and just chills. Oh, in a fight. Right. Okay, so Pikachu's just sitting next to Ash. Or outside the ring. If Ash doesn't plan on using Pikachu at all, he usually leaves him with his friends and he watches from the bleachers. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, I want to think of like an example, but I also remember that like in the very first cartoon, Ash used Pikachu to fight an Onix. So, yeah. And won, mind you. So I can't just say, oh, well, I guess this is not a good matchup for Pikachu. I'll just leave him in the stands. No, if it's a bad matchup, Ash will use Pikachu anyway. Okay, so anyway, getting back to Pokeballs. All right, obviously there's a lot of different Pokeballs. And even it says right here, and I think this is important, these are the 28 Pokeball variants found in the core series, excluding those exclusive to Pokemon Legends Arceus, which, again, is what we've been doing. I have been excluding Pokemon Legends Arceus from pretty much everything so far, just because it's not... I don't consider it part of what's important to Pokemon. The core games are what's really important. Okay, so there is a whole lot of stuff here, and we're not going to read through all of it. Like the history of Pokeballs, I don't care about the history of Pokeballs. Mechanics and design, I don't think that we need to worry too much about that. What we are going to have to get into, though, is this, Pokeball accuracy and catch rate. Now, before we ended the last stream, we did talk briefly, very briefly, about throwing things, mostly throwing weapons, but if we're going to be throwing Pokeballs, the question is going to come up to, you know, how far can you throw a Pokeball, accuracy, such things. And a throwing dagger has a range of 10 feet. Okay, and that's in the book. I think I still have it pulled up here. I do still have it pulled up here. So, yeah, right here, daggers. Yeah, a dagger has a range of 10 feet. Most everything has a range of 10 feet if it's a thrown weapon. Even if we go to something like a javelin, which I think a javelin is... No, there it is, javelin. Actually, javelin has a range of 30 feet. That is considered a ranged weapon, though. I guess that's a really good question. Like, a dart has a range of 20 feet and is specifically designed to be thrown. So is a javelin. A javelin is 30 feet, specifically designed to be thrown. Pokeballs are designed to be thrown. So perhaps using or comparing them to a dagger is the wrong thing to do. Yeah, I think that's the wrong thing to do. Anyway, even if we gave them like 20 feet, because it is a ball, exactly aerodynamic. I mean, it's kind of aerodynamic, doesn't have sharp corners. Regardless, even if we say that it's got a 20-foot range, that still means that you'd have to run up to within 20 feet to throw the thing, and your accuracy is going to be whatever your ranged accuracy is going to be. So, it says here, in Gen 1, it was possible for a ball to actually miss the Pokemon when the likelihood of catching the Pokemon in question was particularly low. Rather than the ball throwing animation playing, the ball wiggling 0 times, the message would just say, you missed the Pokemon. In our game, that will actually be able to happen. You'll be able to throw the Pokeball and just miss. I mean, if you roll particularly poorly, it can happen. So we don't really need to worry about the accuracy. What we do need to worry about, though, is that catch rate. So let's take a look at that page, because that's what we need to look at. And I'm going to go ahead and make a note here. Pokeball throwing. So this is going to be... Oh, actually, you know what we should do? Yeah, we should do. I should... First reformat this, actually. Format Painter. There we go. I should just make, I should just make a weapon entry for Pokeballs. I mean, I don't necessarily need damage, but everything else is going to be kind of important. So, weapons. It's going to be a name, a cost, and we have the games that we can reference for that, because actually, I don't know. I don't know if the cost of Pokeballs ever changed across the games. If somebody else knows that, then that would be helpful. But yeah, if the cost ever changed. Damage. These don't really do damage. Range. Weight. Which the weight is negligible, so not really much to say there. Let's see. JP says, it occurs to me it's like the Roman Colosseum. You have fighters imprisoned in tiny cells. They're let out to battle for the entertainment of their masters. I mean, you say that, which is hilarious. Don't get me wrong. But have you seen, like, the absolute temper tantrums from groups like PETA towards Pokemon? PETA. The people for the ethical treatment of animals, that PETA. They loathe Pokemon, okay? And that is not a word that you get to use very often, but they loathe Pokemon. Because they basically say that Pokemon is the modern day dogfighting. Which, again, you know, things that they did back in Rome. I mean, yes, in the Colosseum, they used people and lions and tigers and probably a bear. But otherwise, I mean, they would battle animals all the time. And so they just compared, it's like, hey, this is just modern day dogfighting. They hate it. And of course, I mean, you can just imagine Hitmonchan standing up there going, "Are you not entertained?" Because I can. Okay, so getting back to the weapon things. Oh, and Alden says that the prices of the Pokeballs do vary in different games. Okay. That's not a huge deal, okay? It's not a huge problem. Oh, PC says, I wonder what they think of Pal World then. Oh, trust me, they hate Pal World too. They don't like anything, okay? Alden says Pokeballs are 200 Pokédollars in most games, except for 2 games which made them 100. And that's fine. It's not a huge deal, but if they were all the same, it would have made my job a little easier. Okay, anyway, getting back to this. So, we've got to wait. The type, what's the damage type, and these don't actually do damage, so we don't really need a type. And then special. That's technically all that we need. And Alden says, Pokemon at least pretends to be ethical. That's funny. Have you read some of the entries on these Pokemon? I think ethical is stretching it. Okay, so this is everything that we need. Getting back into the Pokeballs, though, I'm going to go back for one moment. Because we have a whole list of Pokeballs up here. And I kind of want to make a list of them. But I would need to actually find, you know, a list of them. In the manga, real life. Maybe I should go here. Pokeball item. This is not really helping me. Scrolling. Oh, wait, here we go. No. Pokeballs, right here. This is the list that I needed. Perfect. This is exactly what I needed. And Alden says there's a full list further down. Yep, found it. Just took me a little bit longer to get there. Some of these I know. Oh, Alden says go back to the previous page and scroll down. Oh, well, I mean, this works too. Some of these I know, some of these I don't know. This is the 28, right? So there's 6 in each row. 6, 12, 18, 24, 28. Okay. Alden says go back to the previous page. I told you to. It's better. Okay. I'll go back. But that one had pretty colors. Okay. Scrolling. So, oh. Hey, there we go, actually. Okay, yeah, you're right. This one is better. It's got all the details on it that I needed. Perfect. So let me just go ahead and make a list of these then. And unfortunately, I don't know how to actually type the E with the little tilde thing over it, so whatever. So we got a Pokeball. Great Ball. An Ultra Ball. Master Ball. Interesting that Master Ball is number 4. But then again, I'm going to go ahead and assume that in the very first Pokemon games, there were probably only 4 balls. You had Pokeball, Great Ball, Ultra Ball, and Master Ball. And the rest just came later. Let's see. JP says, what's the one that wears its mother's skull? That's pretty dark. Like, was the developer going through some... Okay, so that one is called Cubone. I know that much. And as for... was the developer going through some stuff? I mean, maybe. But, like, If you're not familiar with Pokemon, Cubone is tame. Like, what was the one Pokemon that I came across in Violet? I want to say it was Hatterene. I think it was Hatterene. And let me just see if I can pull that one up here. Hatterene, yeah. PC says, Confucius say, man with 4 ball cannot walk. I mean, that seems accurate, actually. Would be hard. Okay, Hatterene can Gigantamax into Gigantamax Hatterene. No! The last thing you want is for this thing to get bigger. Okay, Hatterene. Hatterene is a small humanoid Pokemon with a thin white body. The head is round, has a small mouth, narrow black eyes with white pupils, 2 elliptical pink markings over each of its eyes, resembling eyelashes or eyebrows. It has an extremely long, layered, symmetrical hair, far longer than its body is tall, much like a cloak. The hair on its head drapes the ground and swathes around it, concealing much of its true body, which is adorned in a pink semi-translucent dress that gives it a much taller silhouette. Resembling that of a stereotypical sorceress or witch, the hair is colored in a gradient of baby blue, pale pink, and white from its upper proportions downwards. Yes, this is fine. We can see what it looks like. Hatterene is a solitary and reclusive Pokemon emitting psychic powers strong enough to cause headaches. This is employed as a method to deter others from approaching it and disturbing it. It has been observed that it dislikes loud noises, tearing apart perpetrators with the claws on its tentacle as a result. As approaching it and disturbing it, it has also been... as shown in Pokemon Journeys, the series, the episode Must Be Our Heroes and the Witch. Hatterene plays with people's minds and creates illusions, deceiving them for its own pleasure. Due to the long hair obstructing its floating body, its main forms of locomotion are levitation and short-distance teleportation. This Pokemon of the forest, with no other living creatures nearby, as such it is known as the Forest Witch. Okay, so like... We just need to go through a couple of things. Number one, it tears apart anything that makes a loud noise. Okay? And that's just straight up violence. It also psychically invades the minds of everything else in an attempt to drive it away. So, it's going to give you a headache, it's going to cause you pain if you get too close to it. If you continue to get close to it, judging by what it does to anything that makes a loud noise, it's going to murder you. And seeing as how nothing else lives in the same forest, or at least within a certain radius of a Hatterene, Hatterenes are mass murderers. Okay? They are mass murderers. Alden says, Phantump is a Pokemon that is also the soul of a child who got lost in the woods. Yamask is a ghost type that used to be human. It carries around a mask that resembles its human appearance, and it cries whenever it sees it. There are a lot of messed up Pokemon. Yeah, kind of the point that I'm getting to. Pokemon is dark. And this is just what's in the mainline games. Again, I haven't read the manga, but the game that we're building here far more closely resembles the manga than it does the game or the show. The show had to be censored for children. The manga was not. Alright, so, getting back to my Pokeballs. We got a Safari Ball. Fastball. That one's special. A Level Ball. That's one that I'm not familiar with. JP says, they really have that traditional Japanese honor undercurrent, or horror undercurrent. Yeah. Japanese is... They're different. They're very different. Let's see. Lure ball and heavy ball. Love ball and friend ball. Moon ball and sport ball. I love sport ball. It's my favorite ball. And Alden says that reminds me of the cut content. Yeah, I bet. I can only imagine that not only like not only is what we got over here like already like really sanitized for kids, like the anime was already really sanitized for kids, but then they always have to go through and censor even more. Like, I don't know Pokemon that well, but you know what I do know? Transformers. Okay? And Transformers has cartoons too. And I can remember, okay, and you can look this one up. There was okay, after Beast Machines ended, okay, Beast Machines was essentially the end of the Transformers story. If you go back to 1984, actually, we had the G1 Transformers cartoon. And that ran for, I want to say 4 years? I think it was about 4 years. So it would have ended about 1988, if I remember correctly. And after that, they started G2, and G2 ran from about 1988 to about 1992, I think, or so. There was a brief break there, and then Beast Wars came out. When Beast Wars came out, it looked like it was going to be completely independent. However, then you find out later in the series that it is actually a continuation from the original series. And then Beast Machines picks up right where Beast Wars left off. And when Beast Machines ended, they had no idea what to do. Because it's like, the story's over. It's really over. Like, we've defeated all the bad guys. So they introduced this other kind of standalone series called Transformers Robots in Disguise. And it was very, very much, or very anime. Like, all the tropes. And it also just happened to be playing when 9/11 happened. And because of that, there was one episode where they had somebody carrying a bomb and trying to get it away from the city, you know? Just trying to do the whole Batman thing, get it away from everyone before it blows up. And they decided the best thing to do was to take this bomb up, or straight up the side of a skyscraper and throw it in the air. However, people thought the idea of having a bomb that close to a skyscraper immediately after 9/11 was in bad taste. So they just axed the entire episode. And to this day, they will not air it. It is 24 years later, almost 25 years later, and they still will not air that episode. So yeah, like, everything got toned down for the Pokemon anime, and then I'm sure they just continued to censor it even further. Alden says it involved the lore regarding human and Pokemon relations. Uh-huh. Well, I feel like I know a little bit about that. Did you know that Vaporeon... No, we're not going to go there. I'm also not including that in this module. If you want to marry your Pokemon or something, that's on you. If you can marry the Brooklyn Bridge, you can marry a Pokemon, I guess. I'm not getting involved, okay? I'm going to remain agnostic towards this. I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to say no. I'm just going to run the game, okay? Let's see. JP says, does that make Jessica Rabbit a Pokemon? No. No. No, she's not. In fact, Jessica Rabbit's not even a rabbit. I'm pretty sure the only reason she's even called Jessica Rabbit is because she and Roger were married. And Alden says, no, the Vaporeon stuff is just deranged fans. No, the Vaporeon stuff is just one of the funniest videos I've ever seen come out of Team Fortress 2. Okay? If you've never seen it, I highly, highly recommend that you go to YouTube and just type in TF2 no sleep. Okay? Now, I'm taking no responsibility here for what happens after that. But I thought it was hilarious. Anyway, getting back to this. Okay, Blizz says it's cringe. Yes, it is very cringe. I don't care. It's hilarious. Alright, I left off with Sports Ball. Because I love Sports Ball, right? You love Sports Ball too, right? Netball, dive ball. Nest ball, repeat ball. Timer ball, luxury ball. Premier ball, dusk ball. Heal ball, quick ball. I know quick balls. I use them all the time. My favorite ball. Cherish ball, park ball. Dream ball, beast ball. Strange ball. And I don't know what these are. Hold on. Strange ball. Okay, well actually that's 28. So the Pokeball Hisui, Great Ball Hisui, Ultra Ball Hisui, Feather Ball, Wing Ball, Jet Ball. I don't think I need these. Because it said that there were 28 of them. And that's 28. Oh, and Bliss says that those are Arceus balls. And Alden said the same thing. Okay, fantastic. Great. Don't need to worry about them then. Oh, even the Strange Ball is Arceus, so I don't even need that one. Unobtainable by the player. Pokemon Legends Arceus were transferred. Okay, never mind. You're right. Don't even need that one. Get out of here. Okay, there we go. So there's our list of Pokeballs, and you couldn't even see the bottom, but I mean, I read them out to you. Cost, I will have to deal with later. Let's see. JP says there's a whole new layer to the meaning, or a whole new layer on the meaning of rabbit hole I wasn't prepared for today. Nope, not going there. Not going there. I guess while we're here, we can look at this. So, all of these have a catch rate modifier on them. Now, one of the things that, like, we don't have to do anything about is, since Pokemon does not deal with ranges. Wait, hold on a second. I think I figured out where I've got an extra one here. Sorry, I just noticed this. In Pokemon Legends Z to A, the player does not have a Pokemon out. The level ball will try to catch it with a rich. Aha! We don't need a level ball. That's Legends. At least I think so. Wait, is it Legends exclusive, or does it just, Or is this only what applies in Legends? No, wait, it says Generation 2. So heavy or level ball must still be a thing. Never mind, never mind. So it's ×1 if the Pokemon is the same level as or lower than the wild Pokemon, ×2 if they are at a higher level, but less than double it, and ×4 if the player's Pokemon is more than double. Okay, never mind. Okay. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm actually not gonna fill this in right now. This is all fine. This is all really good stuff, but I don't need to fill all this in right now. I can fill this in later. We've got everything written in here. I'll fill that in. Wait. So Pokeballs are not heavy. I'm going to go ahead and say the range increment is going to be 20 feet. The weight on these things... Actually, I wonder. Maybe I don't even need to guess about this. Looks like no. There's nothing in here about the weight. They can't weigh that much. I mean, they hook onto your belt. And they turn to the side like a marble. They turn into a marble when they're being stored. So the weight, frankly, I'm just going to say there's no weight to them. And the special, we'll have to get into that later. Alright, and that is absolutely not what I wanted you to do. There we go. Okay, so the range is going to be 20 feet. Special we can fill in later. Now we actually got to start looking at how do we catch things. And that is going to involve going into all the mechanics. Let's see. Blizz says unless they have Pokemon in them, Alden says they don't think the Pokemon have contained in them affects the weight either. I don't think it does, because again, I'm like almost positive that the Pokemon get digitized inside, which is why they're interactive with computers. And, you know, data doesn't cost any, or data doesn't weigh anything. I mean, it does, technically, but we're getting into, like, quantum mechanical stuff there. And I don't think you want to do that. Like, I can do that. Do you want to do that? We can go into a quantum mechanics thing right now. Because, technically speaking, the electron volts of any particle in motion technically gives us momentum, and momentum can be expressed as a function of mass. And anything that could be expressed as a function of mass inside of a gravitational field technically has weight to it. We can do this. I know how to do this. But, we're going to go back to the catch rate. Let's see, Alden says, on a side note regarding the 6 Pokemon limit, it's a hard rule in the game and the anime, but the manga does not have this rule. So, okay, that's fair. And I'm almost certain that the whole 6 Pokemon limit was probably instituted in, it was probably instituted in the original Game Boy game, Pokemon Red and Blue, simply because of programming restrictions. It made sense. Like, for the same reason, why do the Pokemon only have 4 moves? It made sense, and there were programming limitations. It was the Game Boy. It came out in 1989, if I remember. Was it 1989? Somebody out there's going to know better than me. But I think that was it. They did what they could with what they had. Sorry about that. And In doing so, they just created a tradition. Because that's how it was in the first game, it's how it was in the second game, it's how it was in the third game. And because it worked so very well, they just kept doing it. But this does bring up an interesting point. Alden says, it is shown that trainer can carry as many Pokemon as they can manage. It's just that more than 6 starts to get difficult for a trainer to manage. But Alden says it was 96? Did the Game Boy come out in 1996? I thought it was older than that. Oh well, still an impressive career. I kept it to having 4 moves for the sake of balance, which I think is part of the reason why they did it or they continue to do it today in Pokemon. The same thing also applies to, oh, Alden says the first Pokemon game came out in 96. Okay, that's fair. Anyway, keeping it to 4 moves per Pokemon and 6 Pokemon in a team is there for balance. And I agree with that. In game development terms, that's actually a really smart move and it works really well. Now, what we can do though, see in every Pokemon game until Scarlet and Violet, you could have as many Pokemon as you wanted. But if you wanted to change your team, you had to go to the Pokemon Center and use the computer to change them out. Scarlet and Violet were the first ones to allow you to do that at literally any time. And we can use that, actually. We can use that. See, when we're talking about when we're talking about like combat, because that's exactly what this is going to be. It's going to be combat. I want to go pull up some rules because I think this might be important to us. I'm going to duplicate this tab just so I don't lose it. Don't show this again. Alden says technically Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl was. You couldn't do that, could you? Could you? Did I miss something? I always went back to the Pokemon Center. I thought you had to. I'm about to feel really dumb here. Anyway, let's stop me from feeling dumb, okay? Let's be nice to me. Game mastering combat. So the combat round, surprises, attack rolls, armor class. I want actions. Here we go. Action types. Standard move, full round, swift, immediate, and free actions. So standard actions. These are your attacks. Activate a magic item other than a potion or oil. Aid another. Cast a spell. If it has a 1 standard action casting time. Channel energy, escape a grapple, faint, you know, all the usual stuff. Specifically, though, I want... Where would it be? I mean, I thought it was a standard action, but I can't find it. Retrieve a stowed item. Come on, I know it's in here somewhere. Where is it? Oh, there it is. So it technically falls under the category of a move action. Now, what does that mean? Dungeons and Dragons and Pathfinder both use a standard model where they allow a standard action and a move action in any given turn. I generally, because I think it's much easier, treat every move action as a standard action. And I generally allow people to do 2 of whatever, just because I think it makes it easier, and I think it makes a little bit more sense. Now, technically, you can abuse this to you can abuse it to do some bad things, but that's what you have a DM for, okay? To punish you if you do that. In general, I just allow 2 actions per turn, and there you go, unless it's a full round action. But retrieve a stored item. The reason why I pull this up is I don't see a reason why you could not have an entire backpack full of Pokeballs. Keeping 6 on you ready at all times would be the same as carrying a weapon on you, because we can treat Pokemon when they're in combat as weapons. Which means that having Charizard on your hip would be like having a sword on your hip. Having Bulbasaur on your hip would be the same as having a buckler on your hip. Having Wartortle in your backpack should be the same as having a dagger in your backpack, which means that if you are going to get Wartortle out, it is going to take you a standard action, essentially, to get into your backpack and grab it. Now, we could even take this a step further and say that, you know, a dagger is a dagger. You can reach into your backpack and fiddle about and find a dagger because, well, it's a dagger. There's nothing else that's going to be shaped like that or feel like that. And you'll especially figure it out if you grab it blade first. With Pokeballs, however, if you have 100 Pokeballs in your backpack, every single Pokeball is the same. And so grabbing the Pokemon that you need out of your backpack in the middle of combat, yeah, that's going to be a problem. But I have an idea. I have an idea on this one. Oh, and I think that Blizz is out of here. Blizz, thank you for coming. It was great to see you here, and I hope that we see you next time. Until then, take care. So, retrieving an item. I wonder if there's any rules here. There's no subtext here. And there's no further rules either. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and write a rule. So, retrieve a Pokeball in combat. This is going to be a move action, because retrieving an item is, of course, a move action. It's also going to require a perception check, I believe. And the perception check, I think, is going to be... It should be something fairly easy. So, if stored Pokeballs is greater than 1, because if there's only 1 in there, you don't need to worry about it. It's going to take a perception check. Check? No. Perception check. And the DC is going to be 5 plus 1 per ball. Success. Draw the chosen Pokemon. Failure. Draw a random owned Pokemon. Not a random Pokemon. You can't just reach into there and pull out Arceus. Has to be one that you actually own. Oh, owned but also not equipped. Okay. Owned but not equipped Pokemon. There we go. So basically, just if you have to pull one out, if you have an entire backpack full of them, let's say because like in my Violet game, I think I finished off the game with some 300 Pokemon from all the different areas, from the core series in Paldea to the Teal Mask in Kitakami to what was it, the Blue Disc? Azure Disc? Something like that? In Blueberry Academy. I think I had somewhere in the area like 300. If I was carrying all 300 of them, I would of course get to have my 6 in my team stored, you know, on my belt. But if they were all in my backpack, the perception check would be like DC 305. Well, actually, no, more like DC 299. Either way, it's bad. So you could keep them on there, and it would be convenient for being able to just, you know, swap out your Pokemon whenever you wanted to. Oh, Alden corrected me. The Indigo Disc. I knew it was a disc of some kind. Anyway, you can keep all of your Pokemon on you, and that way, like, at the end of the day, you can go through and change your party if you need to. But if you need to change them out in the middle of combat, it's going to get really, really hard to do that because you're just not going to be able to. And I know that we could get into like really, really niche modifiers, like, well, what if they're not all in the same kind of ball? And Alden says, no, I believe those are stored digitally in storage. This may be true, but I'm talking about like if you are in the middle of the road, okay? You're on the road, you're traveling. Unless you have a computer with some kind of connection to like the internet or something, I don't think that works. And I don't want to put the internet in my game, okay? The internet has done nothing good for people. But I don't want to put it in the game. It's bad enough that Pokemon games have television. So, if you're... we can even do both, actually. We can have it so that you can store your Pokemon digitally at the Pokemon Center. You know, everyone will have their own account at the Pokemon Center. You'll have your own storage area at the Pokemon Center. I could even charge money for it. I know the games don't, but think about it. What if it's like $1 Pokédollar per Pokemon? You know, kind of like iTunes. You know, $1 a song. Well, it costs you $1 to store your Pokemon here. Well, if you only have one Pokemon stored there, that's not a big deal. If you have 300 Pokemon stored there, it's a big deal. I mean, it's not important right now. I can do that later. It's an interesting idea, though. Alden says that's roughly how it works in the anime. Wait, which part? The store the Pokemon you're not using at the Pokemon Center, or actually charging people for storage? Because I don't think I've ever heard of anyone charging people for storage. Anyway, though, you could... Oh, actually, I've got the perfect analogy for this. I have the perfect analogy. Anybody who has played a card game, whether it's Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever. If you go into a tournament, you of course have your deck. And everyone that goes in, because you need to have some kind of flexibility, has what's called a sideboard. And I forget how many cards go on the sideboard. I'm sure it changes depending on what game you're playing. But you have a sideboard of cards you can swap in and out whenever you need to. Okay, not whenever you need to. You can't do it like in the middle of a game, but you can do it between games. Any Pokemon that you're keeping in your backpack is essentially your sideboard. So you have your team, you have your sideboard, and then everything that you're not using goes in the center. Let's see. PC says, take your Pokeballs, put Braille identifiers on them, learn Braille. You stop that. Okay, you stop that. That is a brilliant idea. No, I'm not allowing it. I might allow it. It's actually a really good idea. You keep doing that. I'm actually okay with people doing stuff like that. It's a brilliant idea. I actually kind of thought about that because I wasn't thinking Braille specifically, but it's like, what if you just put like a cross on this one, a circle and slash on this one, a square on this one, a triangle on this one? I mean, you could like mark the Pokeball so you could identify them with a swipe of your thumb. Braille would be better, but Braille would take more time. Aldous says there was an entire arc where Team Rocket hijacked their Pokemon Center storage to rob Pokemon. Well, I'm glad they did that, because like I thought about that too. Why not? Was it Jesse and James, or did somebody competent do it? I feel that was mean. Was that mean? Am I being too mean to Jesse and James? Anyway, Alden also says in the manga you can physically see the Pokemon in the ball if you squint. I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that because I'm currently operating on the idea that they get digitized inside the ball. Okay, and I have to because otherwise then we have to get into exactly how does Snorlax fit in the ball? Okay, and I mean, I don't want to do it. Okay? I don't want to do it because I don't want to fall into the same trap of everyone asking, how does Megatron transform into a gun? Okay? He just does. We don't have to explain it. I'm just going to pretend that they're all digitized, they go into the ball, they're stored as zeros and ones until they're reconstituted later. Alright, so, you can carry as many Pokemon as you want in your sideboard. The only problem with it is if you have to draw from your sideboard in the middle of combat, it's going to get harder. And Alden says it was mean but not unwarranted. I mean, I know that they're the butt monkey of the entire show. Like, they're set up as the villains, but they're not actually the villains. And I've even seen some stuff where, you know, you've seen the other side of Jesse and James, and they're really good people, actually, when you actually get to who they are as people. I mean, I feel like they could have their own series. It's just like, how did they get here? What things happened in their life to where they got here? I think that a Jesse and James Pokemon series would actually be really, really good, especially nowadays. Since we're really into the whole sympathizing with the villain thing right now, which I think has been really bad for the most part. But they were already sympathetic to begin with, so I think it would be okay. Anyway, getting back to catch rates. Oh, and Alden says they already did that. Well, I didn't see it. Would be kind of interesting. Oh, it was only a one-episode special. I'm saying turn into a whole series. Okay, catch rates. Let's get into this. So, each species of Pokemon has a catch rate that applies to all of its members. Really? So I was not imagining that. Some Pokemon are just harder to catch. I was unreasonably angry then. I'm still unreasonably angry now. thought it was a flat rate for everyone. It's just, you know, you got to get them down low enough and it works. Okay. When a Pokeball is thrown at a wild Pokemon, the game uses that Pokemon's catch rate in the formula and determines the chance of catching that Pokemon. Higher catch rates mean that the Pokemon is easier to catch, up to a maximum of 255. The formula also takes into account the following factors: the health of the Pokemon relative to its full health, the type of Pokeball, any status conditions on the wild Pokemon, and any active Pass powers in Gen 5, O powers in Gen 6, Rotom powers in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, or Meal powers in Scarlet Violet. Okay, we're ignoring all of that. Okay, I am making just a generic catch system. Okay, certain other factors, such as their level, may also factor depending on the type of Pokeball used or the generation. Circumstances where capture is guaranteed, like using the Master Ball or Park Ball, or any Pokeball used on Kalos Route 2, Route 101, Alola Route 1 prior to the start of the festival, in the Entree Forest, in hosted non-events max paid rattle, blah 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 blah. Okay, I don't care. They'll bypass the formula. So, capture method in Gen 1. Do I even care to look? Because I'm looking at the thing here. We have the capture method in Gen 1, 2, also 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I'm imagining that we need to go to 9. Just see what the most up-to-date one is. And I'm only really doing this for reference because I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be fabricating this out of whole cloth. Oh my god. I knew it when I knew that I was going to be walking into this when I started doing this. I was still unprepared. Okay. The catch rate formula is mostly unchanged from Generation 8, but introduces a new penalty, which is again level related. The modified catch rate formula in Generation 9 is A equals, brackets, 3 times HP max minus 2 times HP current over 3 times HP max times 4096 times dark grass times rate modified times bonus ball times badge penalty and bracket times bonus level times bonus status times bonus miscellaneous. I'm not using that. I knew I wasn't using that to begin with, but no. Just no. I think I could put together something that'll be so much better. Badge penalty is applied to a wild Pokemon more than 5 levels above the player's current obedience level, and is equal to 0.8n, where n is the number of gym badges that would be needed for it to obey. Alden says the new penalty is from the number of gym badges the player has. Fair. So here's what I'm going to do. I've seen how they do it. I understand how they're doing it and why they're doing it. They have the advantage that they have a computer doing all their math for them. We don't. I mean, yes, we have calculators. However, God, I'm not sure if I should say this because I'm not sure how true it necessarily should be. I want to say... Okay, I want to say that tabletop games, Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, Starfinder, even Call of Cthulhu, Mutants and Masterminds, Shadowrun, tabletop games in general, I think that a really, really important rule of thumb is you should not need a calculator for it. Now, I know that if you go back like 4 episodes when we were looking at status effects. Some of these status effects are like 10% of the move's power for burn. So if the move is a power 90 move, then you divide it by 10. However, that should be super easy. Like 90 divided by 10 is 1d9. So it's a 1d9 roll. That you don't need a calculator for. A lot of these other things were like, I want you to do like 1/16 of a roll. Yeah, here we go. Substitute. Remove the Pokemon from play, create a substitute with 1/4 of its max HP. Again, I don't think that you need to have... I don't think you need a calculator for that. So we're just going to ignore this for a moment. That's not supposed to be there. I'm just going to go here and roll a die real quick. $1,000, because that's roughly what a lot of our Pokemon had at level 20. So 543, that's a great number. What is 1/4 of 543? Oh no, we're going to need a calculator. No, we really don't. We really don't. What is half of 543? Well, it's an odd number, so we already know that we're going to have a problem. We're going to have to round down on this one. So if we round down, we'll say 542, okay? Well, 500 divided by 2 is 250. 42 divided by 2 is 21. 250 plus 21 is going to be 271. Now we have to go ahead and divide that again because it's only half. 271, we'll round that down to 270. If we divide 270 by 2, well, it's going to be 100. 70 divided by 2 is 35. 135. So our substitute Pokemon at 1/4 the health will have 135 hit points. This is still very basic math. I think if you have to use a calculator for it, you're either doing something that is like wildly outside of the norm, or it's a bad system. I mean, the story that I will tell, and I'll continue to tell it, is when I have a player who got caught in a windstorm. I mean, like an actual hurricane. And I actually had to throw them for like 7 miles. Because they just kept failing checks again and again and again. And so I had to use a calculator to calculate the subdual damage, which was enormous. And they were in a coma for a long time. But that was way outside the norm. I think if you have to use a calculator for it, it's bad. So we need to develop a system where we don't need to. Now, what we're going to need here is to list all of the different factors. So the first factor I'm thinking of, like right off the top of my head, is going to be the Pokemon... Actually, I'm going to say catch rate. So, Pokemon level... Actually, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to say resistance. And this is going to equal the Pokemon's level divided by 5 rounded down. Okay, so should be pretty self-explanatory. If the Pokemon is like less than level 5, 4 to 1, their resistance is essentially 0. It also means that if their their level is 100, it's going to be a 20. That's fair. Okay, what else do we need? We need to have a hit point. We need to have a hit point thing. So here's where I think that we might actually need to have a calculator, and this is what makes me a little wary. So, hit points. And I really want to just say that it is going to be the current HP divided by the max HP divided by current HP divided by max HP divided by 5 rounded down. Now, that right there is a bit of a problem, because that is going to take a calculator pretty much every single time. Now, what makes it a little bit better, okay, just a little bit, is that that's on me, okay? They are my wild Pokemon. Which means that I can actually sit here with a calculator, and as you are ready to throw the ball, okay, you're getting ready to throw the ball, I can already be doing the calculations, because I will already know what the maximum hit points are, and I can just say, what is my current Pokemon at? Okay, do that. Beep, beep, boop, and I've got the number. The rest of the numbers should be static. It's the only calculation that I should have to make. So, since this is how we're going to do this, what else do we need to consider? I know that they mentioned badges, but here's the thing. We may not be playing your typical game. So, whenever you play the regular Pokemon game, they all follow the same thing. You go through, you do the gyms, you go to the Final Four, you fight the champion, you become a champion, done. But we're not bound by that. We could play whatever game that we want. You want to go on an adventure to see the world? We can do that. We can do that. Alden says status effects. Good point. Good point. Okay. Status effects. And that's going to be a, tentatively, -1 per status. Now, I don't know what the status effects do to the catch rate normally. And I honestly don't really care. I do know that they do affect the catch rate. And I think that by giving it a -1 per status, we're going to make it so that it gives you an effect, but it's not going to be too overwhelming either. And I can always adjust this too. If a -1 per status isn't enough, we can up it a little bit. Maybe even go as high as like maybe a 3 if we need to. But we'll have to play test that one, I think. Now, what about the badges? The badges I think are going to go on the player side because I'm going to put up here catch rate wild Pokemon. Okay? Why do that? Because I think I'm going to put down here catch rate trainer. Now, why do I do this? Because here's where I can do things like put the badges. Because essentially what we're doing up here is we're creating a DC. This is our difficulty check. This is what we're going to have to hit. And so when you throw a ball at a Pokemon, you're going to be rolling a 1d20. Why? Because it's a d20 game. It's tabletop gaming. This is how we roll. So by default, any Pokemon is going to have a natural resistance from its hit points. And I may even want to resist these. Maybe, I'm not sure. Or not reverse these. I don't think it's important. Alden says that Badge's rule only applies because of Scarlet Violet's open world system. And that's fine, because we're going to be playing an open world system too. But here's the thing that we can do. Very similar to what they're doing. There is technically, no reason why you ever have to go to the grass gym. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is this. If you follow the progression of levels, the first gym that you should always go to should be the bug gym. Okay? And I forget where it's from. But either way, it's the first gym that you should go to. Why? It's the lowest level gym. It's the one that's kind of closest to home. You're going to go there because it's just the first gym. But one of the things that we're going to have, simply by virtue of playing this open world tabletop game, is an unprecedented degree of agency. Now, what does that mean? Agency is your ability to make choices. Okay? And specifically conscious choices. Like, animals do not have a high degree of agency because while an animal is capable of making choices, all of those choices are pre-programmed into them by instinct. Okay? A bird can choose whether to fly or not to fly. However, the bird is going to fly because that's kind of what birds do. They have a degree of agency, but their choices are limited. Now, humans are regarded as having the highest degree of agency of all the animals on Earth because we have the highest intelligence of all the animals on Earth. Washington, D.C. excluded. Because of this, there is no rule that says that you ever have to go to the grass gym after the bug gym. You can technically go home, and the game is over. You will never progress, and you can continue to run around and do whatever you want, but, I mean, the game is over if you just refuse to go to any of the other gyms or bases or whatever. In the video game, though, it means that nothing else happens. Nothing else. Okay? The game is frozen. You can continue to go catch Pokemon, sure. You can even go ahead and level all the way up to level 100. You can go all over the map and catch a whole bunch of Pokemon. But the game never progresses because you never went to that next gym. What we're creating here, and I mean, JP, I believe, will also vouch for this. What I'm creating here is a living world, where the world does not stop just because you didn't go to the next gym. And that means that technically speaking, you could go to the first gym when we're playing. And then, if you, as like a party, decide that, you know what, yeah, I actually I don't care about this. We don't care about this, and we want to go ahead and go do something else. Technically speaking, you still did the first gym. You got the badge for the first gym. And so you should get credit for doing the first gym, which means that every badge that you get needs to have a bonus for it. Because even if you just did one, that's good enough. Let's see. Alden says, on a side note, as a concept, in Pokemon Origins, a special miniseries, gym leaders are revealed to scale their team based on the challenger's number of badges. Cool. Very cool. I can do that too, actually. And JP says, yes, can confirm the spreadsheets track things we never knew he was tracking. Everything is a ripple. Yes! Yes, it is. I like my living worlds. Alden says, so like Brock asks the trainer how many badges they have, they respond that this is their first gym, and explicitly show Brock pulling out only 2 balls from his full team of 6. You know, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. And, I mean, that's something that I'm already going to be doing, because it's part of balance. I mean, I can't throw you guys up against the end boss as soon as you started the game, unless, of course, I'm trying to make a statement. You can do that. You just have to be very careful when you do it. But in general, if you're doing that, like I said, it's to make a statement, and you're not seriously fighting at this point. So we need to give a bonus here. The question is what? Should it be a flat bonus? Should it be an escalating bonus? Because technically speaking, no matter what game that we play, it should be a it should only be 8 badges, because that's a consistent theme throughout everything. It should be only 8 badges. Now, we already know that the level bonus for Pokemon can go up to 20. And the hit points bonus the hit point bonus actually is a little bit wrong, now that I think about it. Current HP divided by max HP. If both these numbers were equal, the current numbers would be, well, 1, because 100, if they had 100 hit points, 100 divided by 100 is 1. Divided by 5 is rounded down. This needs to go up, actually. I need to redo this, actually. I gotta refigure out how to do my math here, because my math is not mathing. Yeah, my math is not mathing here, and I'm not sure why. But either way. Alden says lost hit points, you mean. Here's the thing. And my brain is not doing the math for me right now. Essentially, the hit points at maximum should be another plus 20. Okay? So if they have lost no hit points, it should be an automatic plus 20 to the catch rate. Which means that, like, even if the Pokemon was like level 1, okay? Level 1 Pokemon with maximum hit points, then it should be an automatic plus 20. And so I don't remember how to do my math on this one, and I'm having just like a huge brain fart. And PC says I skipped your joke. Did I? Oh, I see it up there. TARDIS technology for the Pokeballs. I mean, it could be. However, if that were the case, then that would make every single Pokemon trainer a Time Lord, and I can't have that, okay? I can't do that. One Time Lord is enough. Can you imagine if everyone was a Time Lord? Actually, yes, I can, because then we would just have Gallifrey. And things did not end well for Gallifrey. Okay, anyway, actually, hold on a second. I think I've got this. So, hit points, current over maximum is going to give me a percentage. I just need that percentage used against 20. Times 20 rounded down. And PC says, nope, that was super earlier, the Congress joke. I don't know, that's the last comment I see from you. Scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. I see PC scrolling. Yeah, PC Unicorn, TARDIS technology. What after that? Alden, 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 Alden. And then JP, and then Alden, and then JP, and then Alden, and then PC, and then Alden. Noticing a trend here. Nope. YouTube done ate your joke. Okay? I can take no responsibility for that. YouTube done ate it. They does that sometimes. Okay, so anyway, hit points. Now that we've got this. So it's the current divided by the max times 20. Because we're using a decimal to multiply by 20, it'll be fine. So, like, if I take... This should give me roughly 5. If I pull my calculator out, 135 divided by 543 equals 0.2486187.845. That's a lot of numbers. If I multiply that by 20, that gives me 4.9. Technically, rounding it down every time, that would be a plus 4, which makes sense. 1/4 the hit points, 1/4 the DC. So there we go. That's the equation that we want. So again, this maxes out, or the resistance maxes out at 20. The hit points maxes out at 20. I'm not sure if I want the badges to also max out at 20. Oh, PC said it in the Discord. Well, see, that's the thing. I don't actually watch the Discord while I'm doing this, as JP should be well aware. Oh wait, no, sent a screenshot. Okay, so PC actually sent a screenshot, and it actually shows up on PC's screen, but not on the public screen. Which means that PC, congratulations, you have been shadow banned. Or shadow censored, or something like that. I love it when we can prove that YouTube... Like, okay. I'm gonna take just a moment here. Because, like, YouTube is a dying platform. I don't think that I'm the first... I know I'm not the first one to say that. But YouTube is a dying platform. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. And I acknowledged that a long time ago. The fact is that one of these days, YouTube is going to either shut down or it's going to become unusable. I already have one strike on my channel. I have a strike on my channel. Do you know that? I do. I have a strike on my channel. And you know why? I have a strike on my channel from a a lecture that I did like a long time ago. And see, YouTube doesn't like it when you talk about the behind-the-scenes stuff like this. But I wonder if I can pull it up on my phone here. No, I don't want your stuff here. Yes, I know I have comments that I have to respond to. I hadn't forgotten. I just haven't got around to them yet. Analytics? Okay, I can't pull it up on my, I can't pull it up on my, my phone. I could, however, pull it up on a different tab, so give me just a second here. Actually, nope, can't do that. I need that tab, or I need that there still. Alright, let me use my other computer for this then. So, dashboard, active copyright strikes. Right, okay, so here it is. It was my Variety Pack lecture where I talked about degrowth El Salvador political persecutions, because that was a lot of what was in the news at the time. And I got a copyright strike because I covered a local news source talking about a guy who set a Trump sign in somebody's front yard on fire. It's either a sign or a flag. I don't remember exactly which. But I talked about that. And by the way, this video came out August 25th. Or I did this stream on August 25th, 2023. I got a copyright strike on August 8, 2025. Now, technically, my copyright strike expires in 4 days, and then everything goes back to normal. But the fact is that I was copyright struck 2 years later over a local news source that will never be seen again, and probably got more coverage from my little rinky-dink lecture than they did in their own town. The fact is that YouTube is an absolute mess. I am not the only one talking about it. And eventually YouTube is going to die. Sooner or later, I will not be doing this anymore. So we're here for a good time, not a long time. Which, by the way, is just another reason why you should really join the Discord. Like, if you like what I'm doing here and you're not already a part of the Discord, do that. Because when everything goes to hell on YouTube, that will still be there. And if something happens to Discord, before that happens to YouTube, I promise we will migrate somewhere else. I don't know where, I don't know when, and I don't know how, but we will migrate somewhere else. One way or another, we will keep it going. Alright, I'm sure how I got on that tangent to begin with, but it's okay. It's okay. Oh, right, because PC got censored. That's why. Yeah, eventually I expect to get censored too. It's going to happen. I will say something that is not nice. I haven't done a lecture in a long time. Half of the reason that I haven't done them is because I'm going to end up just getting myself censored. I mean, I could go to other places like Rumble and do it there, but nobody watches Rumble. Anyway, getting back to this. So, I think what I want to do... Here's what I'm going to do, actually. So we already know what the DC is. The DC is going to be whatever their hit points are times 20 rounded down. So it's going to start at 20 and it'll go down depending on how many more hit points you take off. Then we're going to add their level. So like if I just were to roll a die and just get a random level here. $57. Okay, 57, we have to round this down. So we're going to round down to 55, divide by 5, it's a level 11. Okay, level 11. So by looking at our numbers here, it's going to be a base of 11 just based on their level. Their hit points could be anywhere from 1, well, could be anywhere from 0 to 20. So we're talking about anywhere from 11 to 31. And then status effects, -1 per status. And so if you can load them up with like poison and sleep and confusion and all kinds of stuff like that, you can bring it down a little bit more. But now catch rates. For the trainer, we need a bonus, and I'm thinking that if we take the bonus and we make it badges, and I think we're going to make this one a +2 per badge. We'll make it a +2 per badge. And that means that if there's 8 badges, you can get up to a +16 for your catching power. Which is great. Otherwise, what other bonuses can we get? A lot of it's going to be dependent on the ball. And so we'll have to look into that. Oh, and one other thing. Bit of a side tangent, I know. But since PC did have me go through did go through the trouble of sending it to me, I can't read it. It's too small. PC, by the way, earlier when PC said they sent a joke, it said, "Did you hear about the guy who released a brain-eating amoeba into the Congress water supply? He was charged with animal abuse as the amoebas all died of starvation." It's a great joke. I've seen so many variations on it. And who are you? Alpha Deck for Life? You're new here. Hello! I haven't seen you before, but I'm glad to have you here. Morning, how are you? I am fine. I am fine. Unfortunately, you got here at like the end of the stream. But it's okay. We're still working. We're still working. Wait, PC issues. Hold on. Wait, are you not new? See, here's a weird thing. Like, I have to get to know everybody by both their usernames and their handles, because the chat is showing everyone's handles and not their screen names. And I don't know if I know you or not. Wait, Alpha says, "Are you DJ?" I am not DJ. I am Shadowcat. I'm even on the screen. Alright, so what else can we give the trainers? Badges, of course, are going to do this. A lot of the balls are going to do the heavy lifting here. So, here's what we can do. Here's what we can do. We're going to go ahead and we're going to look at... We're going to look at the balls again. Scrolling. Where are they at? Did I pass them? No, I didn't pass them. Okay. So, like, again, I think that a lot of the Pokeballs here are going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting. So, for example, we're going to be rolling a D20. Okay, we're rolling a D20 already. And since these are all multipliers, A Pokeball is times 1, Great Ball is times 1.5, Ultra Ball is times 2. All of these are multipliers, and as such, they already kind of work with whatever we're doing. Now, naturally, we'll be rounding these down. But let's say that we have our example with somebody who's only got one, they've only got one badge, okay? Just one badge. And we have 27 balls here because we, you know, first row is just these. So we've got 27 balls. So I'm going to go ahead and say 1d27. What are we throwing here? 9. 9 will be the heavy ball. So let's go take a look at the heavy ball. The heavy ball is weird. It's a -20 if using a Pokemon weighing less than... let's see. Okay. So there's a lot of different changes here depending on which version of Pokemon we're using. However, it says right here for Scarlet and Violet, if the catch rate is set to 1 if it becomes negative. But how does it become negative? Wait a minute, hold on. I think I understand this. Oh, look, flock of turtles. 3. Okay, 3 is an Ultra Ball. Oh my god, so much easier. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to pretend that we have one badge. Because like I said, there's nothing stopping you from going to the first gym, getting the badge and saying, you know what, Pokemon training isn't really for me. I'm going home. So you have one badge. That's going to give you a +2. An Ultra Ball, per the catch rate here, is just a flat-out ×2 multiplier. So here's how we would do this. We're going to come to roll 20 because this is how we're rolling our dice. We're going to go ahead and say it's going to be 1d20. Yeah, just 1d20 +2 because we have a badge. We rolled an 18, we got 20. Now, Ultra Ball ×2. 40. Now, is this too powerful? I don't know. We did roll really high, and so that really helps. If we had rolled something else, like let's throw it again. We rolled an 11, +2 is 13, ×2 is 26. 26 is a pretty good roll. So where does that leave us? Well, we've got a wild Pokemon here, and what we did here, I believe that we rolled before like a level 11 Pokemon. Yeah, because it was 57, we reduced that down to 55, and then divided by 5, so we had a level 11. Then I'm just going to roll 1d20 to find out where its hit points are. 9. So it still has 45% of its hit points left. That's a 9. 11 plus 9 is 20, which means that if you threw the ball at this thing, you would catch it. Honestly, it seems pretty easy. And I don't think, because of what the balls are going to be doing, I don't think that I need to give the trainers a ton of bonuses. I don't think I need to. Because when you have something like an Ultra Ball, which is a ×2 bonus on your dice, that is a pretty good guarantee that you're going to catch whatever you want. The only time that it will really be an issue is if you were going up against something legendary. Now, one of the things that we're ignoring here is that base catch rate. Because it said that every Pokemon has a base catch rate. I mean, it was one of the first things that was up here. Yeah. Each species of Pokemon has its own catch rate that applies to all of its members. And I don't think that it's going to be as important. Alden says the Quick Ball is going to be insane. Okay, hold on. Let's go look at that. Let's go look at that. Scrolling. Because, like, Quick Ball is my favorite ball. Quick Ball. So, it is a ×1 or ×4 in all of those. However, Gen 5 Plus, it is a ×5 bonus. Okay. You are right. That is insane. Having a ×2 is almost a guaranteed catch. Having a Quick Ball at a ×5? Well, let's face it. If you were going to hit 40, which will catch most everything, you would only have to roll a 5 or better. So, yeah, you're right. That is a kind of a huge problem. That's kind of a huge problem. Oh yeah, look at the Love Ball. That's a ×8. ×8, but only if used in the Pokemon of the same species but opposite gender of your Pokemon. I've never used one of these balls before, but let's see. Alden says maybe have maybe legendary Pokemon have a special passive that adds like a +10 resistance. Well, actually, that's what I was just about to get into before you mentioned the Quick Ball. I was just about to start looking into the different types, because we've got regular Pokemon, and then we have pseudo legendaries. You know, the 600 Club. However, I don't think that pseudo legendary is an official term. Is it? Is it an official term, or is it just like a fan term? Either way, legendary is absolutely a proper term, and yes, legendaries should have some natural inherent bonus just for being legendary. I agree with that. However, even so, if we had like a Quick Ball and you gave a legendary like a +10 resistance, if you rolled a 10 with a Quick Ball and you didn't have any badges at all, that is a 50. And so that's not going to work for us. That's actually really bad. Here's what I think I need to do. I think that what we're going to do here is we're not going to use multipliers. The multipliers are, like, really great. The problem is, though, that they're really great and that we can't do that. What if we took out the multiplier and just made them additives? So a regular Pokeball +1 to catch. I know, Pokeball is a ×1, which means technically there's no bonus at all. But let's be magnanimous here, okay? Every Pokeball should give you, like, some kind of bonus. Besides, if you roll a 1 anyway, it's already going to fail. A Great Ball, 1.5. We can just round that up to being a 2. So +1, +2. The Ultra Ball, we can go ahead and give that like a +3 or a +4. Sure, why not? We could do that. We would need to have another thing over here, but we can do this. Let's just go ahead and insert a column after And we just go like modifier. +1, +2, +3. +3? Nah, +4. Do +4. Master Balls don't have a modifier because they just catch everything, but you get the idea. So if we come back here to like the Safari Ball, the Safari Ball is nothing, apparently. It was ×2 in Gen 1, 1.5 in Gen 2 through 7, and in Scarlet Violet, it's just ×1. So, +1, I guess. So the level ball depends on, the level of the Pokemon. The lure ball... So the lure ball is ×4 if it's used against a Pokemon that is in or on the water. And that's interesting. So it's, +4, but only on water. And real simple, we can do it like that. And so now when we go back to look at our catches, if we were using, say, an Ultra Ball, and we had 1 badge, again, if our goal to hit is 20, it would be 1d20 +2 for our badge, +4 for the Ultra Ball. I rolled a 9. 9 + 6 is 15. And that would not catch. But hey, that's part of the game. Let's see. Alden says, it's important to understand the Safari Ball had a higher catch rate because it can only be used in safaris where you can't hurt the Pokemon. You had to catch them at full health. In Scarlet Violet, it was strictly cosmetic, so they made it as good as a regular Pokeball. Okay, that's fair. And I suppose that is fair to say about like the Quick Ball as well. You would have to catch them at full health because it's the first turn. Which means that there is an automatic, +20 because they're at full health. Then you get to add in whatever level they are. Still though, even if they were at full health, which is +20, even if they were level 100, which is another +20, that is a DC 40. And the Quick Ball beats that on an average roll. And I feel like that's maybe a bit much, because that is an average roll versus the perfect Pokemon. And that's just, that doesn't work. Average would, or should be good against average. Which, since we're thinking about that, the Quick Ball, okay? The Quick Ball should make it so that you succeed against the average Pokemon 50% of the time. Well, what is it then? Half level, so level 50, should be a +10. Half health should be another +10, so it should be a should be a DC of 20. So, if we want to make sure that your roll wins on a a roll of 10, it means that the Quick Ball, which is down here, there it is. The Quick Ball is going to be a +10, but only as your first action. Yeah, only as your first action. That should be fine. I had to think about that one for a minute because technically your Pokemon could have a higher initiative than you. Of course, that would require your Pokemon to actually be out too. If your Pokemon is stored, like they usually are, then you wouldn't have a Pokemon out to be doing anything. So it's a bit hard, but, I mean, there you go. Average against average, the Quick Ball +10 on your first turn. I think that works. And so there's nothing really that we need to add to the trainer. The badges are fine. The balls are going to do a lot more of the heavy lifting. I think it's good. I think it's good. I also think we're out of time. So I gotta get off of here because I gotta get some other stuff done. I have things to do. But okay, we did good today. We did really good today. I got a plan for what we're gonna do next week, because I'm relatively certain that we are not going to be spending a ton of time finishing up the Pokeballs. I mean, we did most of the work. It's already done. Once we fill in everything else, it'll be fine. So, yeah. So Alden says it's about time, but before we go... All right, I'll wait. I'll wait. Actually, I'm not going to wait. I'll go ahead and do the outro while you're doing that. But don't worry, I'm not going to leave without you. Okay? Not going to leave without you. So, while we're here, oh, wait, no, there it is. Alden says, small thing to ask, but is there a bonus for throwing a ball in secret, like while hiding? There is currently not. I haven't added that. Should there be? Like, I know that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet did make a big deal out of, hey, you can press this button to crouch and sneak up on a Pokemon. But I did not make good use of it. I honestly did not think it was worth the time, except to just, you know, go in there and catch it, okay? Just go catch it. It's not complicated. It's Pokemon. Just throw the ball and catch the Pokemon. That being said, though, we could do that. I tell you what. Hold on to that thought. Hold on to that, and when we get back next time, we'll figure out what the bonus for that should be. Because there should be a bonus. If you're going to sneak, you should get a bonus. Alright, so we'll deal with that next week. For right now, though, if you haven't subscribed already, I think you should do that. I think you should do that. If you haven't hit the bell icon, I suggest that too. I do this at the same time every week anyway, but regardless, hit the bell icon. That way you get notified every time these videos come out. And I mean, I do a lot more videos during the week too, so yeah. And like, it's November, I honestly should be getting a Humble Spotlight out. It's going to depend on whether I can afford it though, because I obviously got to get that done at the beginning of the month. I don't know, we'll find out. So, hit the bell icon, that way you get notified every time I do these. If you know somebody else who's also into tabletop gaming or Pokemon, then go ahead and share this with them. But if you just like me, like what I'm doing, leave a like on the video, leave a comment down below. But if you're going to leave a comment down below, might I suggest you take just one little extra step. Just one. Join the Discord. Because the Discord is where everything is anyway. So, join the Discord, come say hi to everybody, we're all there, we're all nice people, except for me. I'm not nice. But they're nice, okay? They keep me in check. So, come join us there, especially if you want to play with us. If you want to play, go to the Behind the Screen channel, tell me what games you want to play, what your availability is, and as soon as I have enough people for it, we'll play. So, do that. I hope to see you there. I hope to see you back here next week for more Pokemon. And until then... take care.